Welcome, everybody. Good morning to I guess most of you. Today, well, I'd like to first of all thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to be hosting this conversation, obviously in association with CAEI. My name is Kennedy Barbosa. I am the project development manager for the northern region of Latin America at Altissia, and I will also serve as a moderator for the session we'll be holding today. As you probably already read from the title of the session, today our panelists will be talking about the importance of language in the internationalization of higher education institutions. Language is a pivotal element in the process of shortening communication gaps and ensuring exploitation of the many cooperation and collaboration opportunities available for academic communities all over the world. And for that reason, we've asked Altissia's very own partners in the region, who also happen to be experts in the field, to join us in this very important conversation. So I'll be introducing them next. I will start by going all the way to the south to Universidad Católica, Argentina. So we'll please welcome Dr. Maria Veronica Muñoz. She's the Director of International Relations and Academic Cooperation. And we'll also have Mr. Gustavo Spedue, who's the Academic Secretary of the Faculty of Philosophy and Arts and the Director of the School of Languages. From Brazil, YDUQS, we welcome Caio César Marinho Rodrigues de Souza. I hope that I pronounced that right, who's the international coordinator. We also have Jose Guilherme Gonzalez Machado, who's the international analyst. And from Colombia, from Universidad Industrial de Santander, we have Professor Laura Cristina Dueñas Angulo, Director of the Language Institute. We have Dr. Carlos Enrique Vecino Arenas, who's the Director of International Relations, and Dr. Edgar Mireya Uribe Salamanca, who's the Director of the School of Languages. Well, finally, we have our CEO, Nicolas Louis Boel, who will kick off the conversation in a little bit with an introduction to internationalization. But before we go there, I'd like to take time and take the moment to explain a little bit of what is going to happen during the session. We have maybe 3 or 4 sections to the conversation. We'll start with a small speech from Nicolas Louis, and then we will move forward to listening or hearing a little bit about the experiences, the practices, best practices that our guests have had in their different territories and their universities. They'll be sharing a little bit about what their internationalization policies are, what the incidence or importance of language is on this front, and how languages enhances internationalization within the higher education institutions. After we have touched on every single one of our guests, we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the program, so that we can answer everybody's questions related to the topic at hand today. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to ask any questions, please feel free to leave those questions in the chat. I'll be getting those questions at the end, and we'll be touching on them as soon as as we get to that section. Now, I want to confirm just a moment that we have all the participants at hand. So we'll start, and we'll go over to a little bit of a talk or maybe some information regarding languages in internationalization. But everybody here knows that languages are definitely a vehicle that allow us to take advantage of opportunities. But they're also an essential element of the road to becoming more international institutions. So on the subject of creating bridges and just uniting different cultures and countries that don't necessarily speak the same language, we would like to start and move over and talk a little bit to our friends from UCA. So I'd like to give a little bit of a word to Dr. Maria Veronica and Gustavo. We would like to start by asking you if you could please share with us a little bit on the internationalization policy that you have as an institution and the incidence that languages has on it. So please, Dr. Maria.
Thank you, Kennedy. Thank you all for being with us this morning, for joining us in this session. We're very happy to be part of this wonderful family of Altissia, and YDUQS celebrates the partnership that we started that will hope to have a lot of years ahead. This partnership and this collaboration came up in the middle of the pandemic. There were a lot of talks and conversations before, but I would like to say that before the pandemic, as many institutions in Latin America, the Catholic University of Argentina was mostly focused on internationalization abroad than on pursuing internationalization at home. There were much more, I would say, fragmented or marginal than a comprehensive or central policy within the institution towards internationalization. I would say also that the international office was working a lot with Spanish as a second language students coming to our institution, and also on providing support to those students wishing to pursue study abroad or exchange with other partners. But we also have to say that this was just a small amount of students, not the broader. Of course, internationalization at our institutions was also focused on the rankings, but I also would like to say that we were not so aligned in pursuing this internationalization on the three core functions of our institution, which is education, research, and service to society. So I have to say that physical mobility, incoming and outgoing students, was the main area in which all our efforts were placed. And of course, when we think on the numbers in Latin America, when we look at what UNESCO has recently published, only 1.26% of Latin American and Caribbean students study abroad. When we think in Argentina, it's roughly 0.3% of Argentine students studying abroad. So it's clear that we have to do something for that other 98% of students who are not achieving the opportunity or who are not accessing the opportunity of exchange or studying abroad. So taking that into a big consideration, the university make a strong move towards rethinking what we want to achieve through internationalization and how we will be providing a global mindset to all our students. In that, I would say, path, in that track, when we were thinking of these options, last year, a year ago, October 2020, came up the World Economic Forum and this discussion on the future of work. And when we thought on the future, when we think on the future of work, of course, came up this, I would say, new trend. Of course, there is a huge digitalization coming up everywhere, and there is a big scaling of remote working. So we put all these things together with Gustavo. We sit down and we talk, and we also bring all other people from the university at different areas to a table to discuss, okay, what do we want to achieve? How can we reach out to that 98% that is not accessing directly the internationalization or the international experience on one hand, and how can also we provide this and make this accessible not just to the students, but professors, but researchers, by directors, by our staff, administrative staff, etc. And this is where we develop a new project and a new whole strategy in which not only the mobility or the traditional mobility was included, but it was a big investment on internationalization at home, which at this stage, it's becoming a reality through all these collaborative projects that we're seeking with partner institutions, not only in the region, but across the world. Also, all the virtual exchange through which the university is opening up its doors. And of course, the role of language training is not subsidiary, it has become a key role in order to develop this global mindset and in order to develop the abilities our students, our faculty, our researchers need to be able to deal with the world. So this is where Altissia became, and we really celebrate the presence of Altissia in our institution, because it enables us to provide a very easy access opportunity to all our community. Gustavo. So if not, I will keep talking.
Thank you, Veronica. I'm very grateful to be here. So thank you for the invitation. And just to add a few words to what Veronica said about how the university helps or facilitates students to learn languages. All of our students are required to have a B1, B2 level of English or other modern language to graduate. But they have not the obligation to take language courses at our university. If they just have the level of English, for instance, they can give us a valid certificate or pass an exam in the School of Languages. We have had a School of Languages for several years, but it was based only in Buenos Aires. Our university has 4 campuses. The biggest is in Buenos Aires, but we have other campuses in the cities of Mendoza, Rosario, and Paraná. The School of Languages used to offer in-person, face-to-face courses up to 2019, but in that year before the pandemic, we decided to launch online courses to reach a broader audience, and certainly the rest of the UCA community that is not based in Buenos Aires. As Veronica said, Altissia helped us a lot because with the platform, all of the community university members, not just students, but professors, researchers, and administrative employees can use the platform for self-learning, as you know. So we are really encouraging to take advantage of this marvelous tool to the whole community of the university. The School of Languages uses the platform to give blended courses, but blended online courses. That is, the in-person class are through video conference. And in that way, we can offer the courses to, as I said, to the whole community of the university. That is, the campuses that are in provinces and not in Buenos Aires. So we are very excited. We are at the beginning of this new experience because this year was the first year that we offered these online courses. And I believe that we have to grow in the use of the platform, just as I said, encouraging students to take advantage of it. And our School of Languages, I finally want to say, is open not only to our students or members of our university, but to the general public. even students or of universities from abroad. So if for those universities that perhaps do not have a school of languages, we are willing to sign agreements and cooperate with the training and for not only for students but also for teachers and researchers. Well, as I said, it's the beginning of this experience for us. We are very excited and happy and hope it will bring us very good results in the near future. Thank you.
And let me add just one more thing that I think is also very valuable, because when we think on languages also, and when we think on all these activities, our mind flows directly into the students. And I think that the university is promoting a lot the learning of languages within our staff, within all our employees and administratives. We want to have a multilingual campus. And that is accessible when you have the opportunity that Altissia grants of so many languages available and with so many levels that participants can complete, so that everybody can find the right language or the right interest in the huge amount of opportunities that Altissia offers. So I think that one of the things that I think it's interesting is that when we think on how to promote the career, not only of how to build the workforce of the future through our students, but how to promote the career of our people, of our faculty, of our staff, of our administrators. We just don't need to offer them a course to achieve a specific skill for a specific role. We need to provide tools so people can develop whatever they have on their mind that can be applied on different areas. And that is precisely what the language offers. So thank you so much for being our partner and for granting us the opportunity of pursuing this new approach towards our internationalization.
Thank you very much. We're very glad to be able to collaborate with you and help you find or close or bridge those opportunities that that present themselves for you and for your students and the whole community. So again, Gustavo, Veronica, thank you very much. I'll be moving to Brazil now, and we're gonna be talking to Caio and Jose from YDUQS, who also share a little bit on their take regarding internationalization and the incidence of language on it. So Caio, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Bonjour. It's a great pleasure to have this time here with you and share some of the knowledge that we are trying to develop here in Brazil at YDUQS. Thank you so much for the great speech, Professor Veronica and Professor Gustavo. I think Brazil and Argentina, we are just rivals on football, but on the ideas of internationalization, we are quite similar. I love the speech about how we can try to enhance this dimension beyond the three pillars of internationalization, and how Latin America can try to develop itself internationalization. Here at YDUQS, what we are trying to do, it's more than the concept of internationalization, and it's more a concept of geopolitics of knowledge. How the soft part of the world can try to develop more comprehensive internationalization with the cultural singularities that we have here. That's kind of different what the perspectives and realities from Europe and North America. So this kind of geopolitics of knowledge, one of the main skills is the language. Here in Latin America, most of our neighbors speaks Spanish, and Brazil, it's the lonely neighbor speaking Portuguese. and when we think about the Portuguese language comparing to the Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world. And the Portuguese, we have 260 million people speaking Portuguese around the world, but 210 million people is Brazilian. So it's not a big language in the world. And recently I read a paper from Professor Cairo from University of Sergipe here in Brazil, that he was comparing why the incoming mobility in Latin America is not really strength. And one of the pillars, one of the main reasons on his qualitative and quantitative research, it's why it's the language approach, why Brazil try to not approach with the Spanish or try to develop another language. And that's a trick thing, because on this paper they put four main variables, that was the language, the immigrants that live here in Brazil, the international rankings, and the perception of violence. And Brazil was really outstanding in the numbers of universities in the rankings. Like, we have really good universities on the Times Higher Education, QS, Shanghai, and really, but with a really good position. But our number of incoming students are really low comparing to Argentina, Peru, Dominican Republic. And we have this knowledge, and the perception of violence was not really big, but it was maybe one of the possible reasons that they pointed out in this research. And also the immigrants here in Brazil, we are a really multicultural country. It's really tricky to define who is Brazilian, because we have all different kinds of people living here in our country. And that was something that was maybe a key to try to develop the internationalization, but we are not trying to use this key to solve this problem here in our universities. So the main reason that they pointed out in this paper is try to enhance the language. And here's one of the things that Altissia can help, and Altissia is helping us here at YDUQS. YDUQS, we are one of the biggest private educational groups here in Brazil, higher educational groups. We have several institutions around the country. So everybody knows that Brazil it's a half of the continent. So be the second largest group, the higher educational group, makes us have like 700,000 students enrolled in our students. So we need to create these skills to help them to achieve this geopolitics of knowledge, how they can make students entering this knowledge society and try to enhance their lives and their careers. So since 2018, we started cooperating with Altissia, trying to stimulate different kind of projects. We started with the language courses in person. So Altissia gave a blended learning tool to our professors. So we have a language center in different universities from our group. And Altissia gave these tools to how to use the platform in this hybrid online learning. So the students were based in the class, and they were using the Altissia platform and learning by them. So we try to stimulate them to use technology instead the books. We still understand that the books are really important, but Altissia gave us these best practices that with the platform and the hybrid learning technology, they can try to go further in their language learning. And English and Spanish were one of the focuses. After we started offering the online classes for our online courses. So we have several MBAs and master's degrees that we offer when the student start doing our MBA and master. They already have the Altissia platform that we call here Language Pro. So, and we have 10 different kind of language, and we were really glad when the students started enrolling in the platform. We were in the beginning, our main idea was the student will be really focusing in English and Spanish. But after some months, we saw that the students were focusing in French, Germany, and also in Finnish. So that was some really interesting point. So that's one of the things that going back from the beginning of my speech, from this kind of knowledge of the geopolitics of knowledge, try to create another boundary beyond the internationalization concept and make the global more unified. So we are trying to give those tools to our students, and we really do believe that the language and the cultural diplomacy that the universities can do, the language is one of the main pillars. So we here at Brazil, we are trying to connect with our neighbors, trying to cooperate even more and understand that the Spanish, if the Brazilians try to learn more the Spanish, they can try to also help the Latin American world, but also if our students, they want to keep connected with Europe, Asia, and North America and Africa, they can also learn those languages and try to go and develop their careers, try to start a new life there. So the internationalization can be the fourth pillar of the development of the universities. So we are here at YDUQS, we are trying to stimulate this. Language is one of the main tools that we are trying to develop. It's a trick thing. It's not a easy thing that stimulates students to try to know a second or third language, but it's our mission as international people, international coordinators, professors, and also the universities have try to have this concept that the internationalization is the fourth pillar, and also the dimensions of geopolitics of knowledge can contribute for our students to enhance their lives and so on. So basically that, I'm going to share the stage with my colleague, José, and thank you so much for our space here today.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me well? Yes. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for the invitation. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Altissia. And I want to thank also my colleague, Caio, for the first part of our presentation. As Caio said, we are one of the Brazilians' biggest educational groups, and we have several brands of higher institutions. So our goal here in the international sector is try to, create programs that will enhance the strengths of all of our institutions here in Brazil, which is very challenging because, as Caio mentioned, and as you all know, Brazil is a continental country. Therefore, we need to understand what are the strengths of each one of our institutions, how to create the best programs, international programs for our students. And as we have different brands, it is important to realize that we have several undergrad courses. Therefore, we need to understand which programs can be best relatable to our courses here, undergraduate courses here in Brazil, in our institutions. Then we need to also, to find the best partners possible, and in order to, find which programs can be more related to our students, to our undergrad courses. And not only we need to think in our brands, but also, understand that as we are a big country and we have different higher education institutions, we need to also understand that our students come from different cultural backgrounds here in Brazil. They come from different regions. Then here at YDUQS, our international programs need to be thought and considered and to relate to our students and what they are looking for during their academic journey here with us. So this is a challenge that we are facing and we face normally in our day-to-day operation. And what we try to reach is we are especially taking advantage of this new hybrid mobilities that are coming up during the pandemic. We are having some very strong programs with some of our partners here in Latin America, which is a destination that some of our students still feel that they're still discovering, because many of our students, they have this idea of going abroad, but only studying in this very traditional destinations such as United States, Europe, perhaps Asia, but we are finding very strong partnerships here in Latin America. And we understand that although we have different languages spoken here in our continent, we have Spanish and also Portuguese. We understand that we still have some cultural ties that connects our students with students from our neighbors here. Then we feel that these partnerships and these programs, they have come up with a very strong possibility during the pandemic, and this is what we are trying to reach, and we are seeing very strong results, and we are very looking forward to, introduce to our students these destinations that are so close to us, but sometimes our students are still unaware of the potential that a mobility to our continent has. And what we feel is that not only we need strong cooperation agreements, but it's also important to have, I'm sorry, there is another mic open. Okay. And not only we need strong partnerships, but we also need to develop the interest of our students in languages. We still feel that is a barrier here in our country, as some of our brands are still discovering the full potential of internationalization, and many of our students still don't have this strong background in terms of languages, not only English, but also Spanish. That's why we still have a tendency of students here in Brazil going to Portugal. It's still the main destination of our students in Brazil, because the language is still a barrier, and we understand that it's important to overcome this barrier. And through language, that's the only way we can do that. As Kyle mentioned, we understand that Altissia is a very, very strong partner with us, with our group. We feel that the blended learning that they offer has become quite popular with our students, but we wish to see our faculty as well and our staff members being able to discover more and try to get better in their language techniques, because as Caio said, Brazil still is a destination that is worldwide known for its natural beauties, but we still face some prejudice regarding our cultural situation, our social situation here, which makes us not a very strong destinations to students all over the world. But we understand that if we have a staff that is prepared to welcome international students, especially able to talk with them and understand their needs and how to welcome them in the best way possible, we can still be a very strong destination. We can welcome our students here and have a strong incoming mobility, because we understand here in YDUQS that it cannot be one-way path. It has to be both ways. Welcome students here, and we need a staff prepared to welcome them and talk to them. And that's why we understand that language is such an important aspect in internationalization, and we wish to see more of our professors, because we often talk a lot about students, but we here in YDUQS, we have a goal, which is to see more of our researchers and our professors going abroad, and also developing research projects with our partners. And we really wish to see a more coherent cooperation here with our neighbors in Latin America. And then we understand that some of our professors are almost our, it's not our tools, but our promoters and our main facilitators in terms of reaching new cooperations. So that's why they need to be completely fluent in their different languages, not only Spanish, but also English, French. And we understand that it is important for them to get to know more Altissia, and that's why Altissia has been a very strong partner with us. And we wish to see language being developed here in our group, and to see more international mobility with our whole academic community. So thank you so much, and I wish we can continue our discussions.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you very much for your intervention. Very, very valuable experiences on obviously intervention and ideas. So just, to keep moving and just to close out the conversations from our partners, I would like to invite YDUQS, who are, I would say, my closest collaborators, as I am based in Colombia. So they are the ones I have the contact the most with. So please, Carlos, I'll be very glad to hand over the lead to you right now. I think you're muted.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, hello, Kennedy, and I'm here with two important persons for this program. They are the leaders of the program, actually. We have at YDUQS the Language Institute and also a language school, which offer undergraduate and graduate programs. So we are a university of one of the top 10 universities in Colombia. We are a public university. As a public university, we have students from all income, but most of them are in the lower level income. So we need to offer some financial support to cover these programs of internationalization, both at home and abroad. So our goal is to have a program that not only thinks about internationalization in terms of mobility, but mainly in a holistic, comprehensive manner. For us, we understand that the language skills are one of the basic components to cover all areas. We cover for like training, research, and obviously outreach. Those are the substantial mission for us, like all the components. And for me, I would say if I just copy paste what my colleagues from Argentina and Brazil said, my main ideas will be there. Yeah? But let me mention that in Colombia, we have a government test that covers the area of languages besides the main like professional components for each area of knowledge. And for the last 3 years after we are working with Altissia, it's been a continuous improvement semester to semester in the performance of our students. This is a really, really nice indicator of the task that we are doing for our students. But not only for the students, we have this platform for professors and for the staff too, and also for our alumni, which is really important. We have about 20,000 students, but 4 times as much alumni. So they are also interested and covering in our program for language skills. For us, the whole idea is to support the mission of the university with these programs. We need to insert our university at the academic network globally, and we think this helping us doing it. We think in terms of research project, for example, but also one important point that I need to make is that we develop a multilinguistic policy at the university. We understand that English is basically the language of convergence for the academic purposes, but we also want to develop different languages. And for us, the possibility of having French, Portuguese, and Russian, Hungarian, I mean, all these kind of programs that cover different languages offer really this opportunity for our members to be able not only to communicate, but also to fulfill the possibilities of moving abroad, like and working with all kind of academic partners. This is quite important for us. So I will just stop here because I have my two colleagues which also want to share some ideas. So they are Laura and Elka Mireia. They are going to cover in English and in French, if that is possible, the main topics. So let's go for Laura, and following that, our director of the language school, which is Elka Mireia, that prefers to go, and we also want her to go in French.
Okay, thank you. So, hello everyone, thank you for inviting us to this event. I think language teaching and learning, they both play a central role in raising awareness and building, yes, thank you, good idea, and building strong bonds in our community. They are bridges that connect this kind of experiences and join us together and allow us to make this possible idea to connect people. Every year, WIS, Universidad Industrial de Santander, welcomes more than 50 international students approximately, and as well, our students depart to 15 different destinations all over the world.
About 300 students.
Yes, and developed, and about 100 students go over there. 300 students a year. So we develop linguistic and intercultural competencies along with the career competencies, providing them the best experience possible throughout these in-house internationalization programs like multicultural fairs, Fulbrighter teaching assistant, among others. Our community has multiple choice regarding choosing languages. They have the opportunity to study English, French, Italian, Portuguese, as Carlos said, and we are offering Spanish as a second language in a natural setting that is very important for us. So Altissia provides excellent opportunities to when it comes to practice and developing these skills needed for academic and personal purposes. So it's important for us the support that teams at Altissia give us in terms of practice, in terms of providing more than grammatical practice, but in a different area. They cover many things in the area, so it is very important for us to have this partner in this path of developing languages. I think it's so we are moving. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm going to speak in French because we organize it that way. Merci beaucoup pour l'invitation. Vraiment pour nous, Altissia a été quelque chose d'extraordinaire. C'est très bien avec les 27 langues qui existent sur Altissia. Nos étudiants, notre communauté académique a profité, bien profité de ces apprentissages parce que c'est pas seulement pour les étudiants mais aussi pour les professeurs et pour les administratifs et aussi les anciens étudiants. C'est-à-dire nous avons essayé de rayonner un peu la partie linguistique et ça a créé une conscience multilingue, plurilingue et aussi interculturelle. Alors pour nous, Altissia à la UIS a été un challenge, a été un défi, a été quelque chose de très important dans la formation académique de notre communauté académique. Voilà ce que je voulais dire. Et une chose qui m'a manqué, c'est je pensais que ici, étant donné qu'il y a l'espagnol, le portugais du Brésil il y a l'anglais, je me disais, ah, ce serait génial de pouvoir parler dans plusieurs langues et puis chacun pouvoir interagir. Et de même pour les personnes qui sont là et qui voudront poser les questions en anglais, en espagnol, en portugais, pregunten en cualquier lengua, sería importante para nosotros. Merci beaucoup.
Bueno, muchas gracias por la intervención, muchas gracias por los aportes que han hecho el día de hoy y muchas gracias pues por ser nuestros aliados. Realmente estamos muy honrados de poder ayudarles a alcanzar los objetivos, a poder cumplir con esa misión que pues tenemos todos, tanto ustedes como nosotros, y estoy seguro que nuestros invitados y los participantes, las personas que están en esta sesión el día de hoy escuchando las diferentes experiencias que han tenido. Entonces, digamos que quiero moverme y un poco finalizar dándole la palabra. Sorry, I changed to Spanish just instantly, so I'll just go again. I wanted to thank everybody for obviously for your very valued interventions and experiences. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here and attending the session. I'd like to hand over the lead and to close out the interventions on our side, the lead to Nicolas Louis Boel, who's our CEO and who will be sharing a few words with you.
I am mute. Okay. Thank you, Kennedy. Maybe you don't know, but I'm late and I'm never late. You know, a plane crash is never the result of one incident, but a coincidence of many. And my delay is as rare as a crash. And I would like to apologize. I had a car incident, a broken fall, and a police statement to do. Sorry about that. Kennedy, I don't know if you had the time to thank everybody already. Then I will just go through my intervention, and if I take too much time, please cut my intervention. Okay, maybe I will just say that, you know, in some of my former interventions, I've shared with you the importance of the internationalization of education, and therefore strong organizations to be included in all institutions in the Americas, and therefore the implementation of ambitious language learning plans. And I've also insisted always on the importance of the multiculturalism, of respecting languages and all languages by making them alive. And you know, humanism, democracy, and freedom, we all know that are based on this foundation. But today, and that will be the conclusion and not the introduction, I would like to move on to less philosophical and more operational stage. And to do so, I will share with you information that I think it's so important to you as a head of an academic institution, a faculty, a curriculum, a class, etc. Let me tell you a story. 2 days ago, I attended the inaugural lecture of the Frankie Chair at our university. And the chair is headed by Professor Piet de Smet. He's a pioneer in the world of computer-assisted language learning. And yes, this is the way we have been talking about distant learning for 40 years. Today, we would talk more about mobile learning or simply language learning. Indeed, today, do we still need to mention the terms distance or mobile? Is it not fair that we accept with great pleasure that language learning is also done at a distance? Like all disciplines, you will certainly say, yes, but not quite. Because as Professor Piet de Smet rightly points out, learning a language has an obligatory immersive side in order to be effective. This learning calls for qualities, disciplines so complex. It would be known if we could study alone in his corner a grammar or vocabulary list to be perfectly bilingual, or simply to share with others in a foreign language. It is certainly not so simple. So today, if you are still in the classroom only, you are late. Indeed, today, there are not enough teachers or buildings in the world to accommodate all those who want to learn a language. Moreover, Today, many countries make the knowledge of an international language and its certification compulsory to obtain a baccalaureate or a master's degree. So, the day before yesterday, Professor De Smet invited us to go even further. He talked about the digital transformation of language learning, taking precedence over the digitalization of language learning. Indeed, for more than 30 years, we have digitized teaching, thus only transforming paper into digital with changes and an offer of more varied contents. But according to him and to Altissia and to us, and I'm sure plenty of you, it is time to move towards digital transformation, which consists in making learning in context according to the learner, the teacher, the skills required for certification, for an academic course, for a future job, etc. Of course, this requires digital and artificial intelligence disciplines, tools, as well as language automation, translation applications, informal language learning, social networks such as Piki that we offer also. You will tell me that we don't talk much about people in these words. Yes, we talk about them, but only on social networks. And that's maybe time for me to talk about the role of the language teacher, which is fundamental, but it is evolving. And it is necessary to accept it by working on it. Without a teacher, this learning lacks coordinations, lacks soul. That's why we have promoted through many podcasts for a long time new ways of teaching languages. We have to help teachers teach in this digital transformation of language teaching. It is indeed complex because the teachers have to be smart. They have to be able to handle different linguistic, pedagogical, digital and management skills. But let's not to fall into the trap of only making content available. This would be a pedagogical mistake. On the contrary, let's take advantage of all the tools that exist, all the applications that exist as tools. For example, voice recognition, translation, certification, proctoring, media contents, according to linguistic contents, grammar. The whole must have a pedagogical cohesion that leads to competence and knowledge and competence. That's right, balance that only a serious academic course can offer. It is not enough to use tools that can be a trap and an obstacle to learning a language. It is fundamental that the academic path be enriched with all the technological and pedagogical innovations. Language has codes like mathematics, logic, philosophy as a whole. The learning of languages must be nourished by all innovations, as the language is nourished by new concepts, new words, new rules, but the language is a code, and the learning of a code also requires a surpassing of oneself. I've been quick, it's 54. Thank you for your attention. I now hand over back to Kennedy, and of course, I wanted to, I don't know if you had the time to thank everybody, Kennedy, but I had an introduction in thanking everybody. Maybe you've done that before. Sorry about this, and thank you everybody. Muchísimas gracias. Muito obrigado a todos.
Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, everybody. Well, we have a question for our panelists that I'd like to ask. So somebody asked if you use EMI or CLIL as a methodology to teach courses, and if so, how have you done it? Maybe we can start with Luis, if one of you has something to add regarding this question.
Okay, so we have been, okay. So at WIS, we have been exploring the possibility to use this CLIL methodology. It is a very interesting way to combine content and language and integrating these two abilities. We have objectives like main objectives in content and sometimes subsidiary aims in language. And this is a perfect way to combine students' interests with the developing of language. So it is, we need to use co-teaching and co-planning things, because otherwise it's not working. So since we need to work with faculty, the professors are going to be integrating interests and purposes. It's going to be a way to develop, I think, an identity for the university, because you can consider CLIL on one hand like hard CLIL, yes, or you just consider adjust CLIL to the necessities of the programs. So I think it is a very good way to start another way to make the programs and the curriculums international. In that way, we can just receive students and we can just send our students with this kind of experience, and they are going to adjust their necessities and their interests when they go on a mobility experience.
Thank you very much. So Laura, for your intervention and for the answer to the questions that they had. Well, I'd like to close out the session. So, you know, time is relative all the time. And today it has gone really quickly. Sometimes it goes slowly, sometimes it goes quickly. Today it has gone by really quickly, and we are unfortunately out of time. So I'd like to close out the session by thanking everybody for taking the time to attend and listen, and for all of your, well, for your question, and thank our panelists for their contributions today. We really highly appreciate you for coming here and, you know, sharing your experiences and being with us, and you know, continue to work with us in a very collaborative manner to achieve our goals. Thank you so much.